Temple of the Holy Triad is located at the corner of Park and Higgs Streets, Breakfast Creek, in an industrial and residential area not far from Chinatown in the valley. Officially known as the Joss House, it is not a big temple. In fact, it is very small. The temple, however, has its own significance, not just in a religious sense, but in the long history of Chinese settlement in Queensland. Mr. Sam Dang, the current president of the Chinese Temple Society, which manages the temple, said that the temple was built 124 years ago, in 1885, by Chinese settlers from southern China who lived in Brisbane. This date is indicated by the inscription on a wooden banner hung on top of the altar in the temple. It is probably the first Chinese temple in Queensland, with the Lit Sung Guk Temple in Cairns, established circa 1887, and the Hao Wang Temple in Atherton, North Queensland, built in 1903. Mr. Dang said that most of the original fittings of the temple were imported from China with traditional Chinese characters and features. This Joss House was located in Breakfast Creek because it was where the early Chinese settlers lived and traded harmoniously with the indigenous people in the area. The temple was built to honor Hua Tuo, a famous herbalist and medical practitioner of the late Han Dynasty, Hua Guang, a legendary protector of Taoism with 3 eyes, and the patron saint worshipped by Cantonese opera performers, and the holy guardian and keeper of wealth. These are very practical deities for early Chinese settlers, whom arrived mainly from the Canton province of China. There are many original artifacts, for example, the drum, the gong, and the seal, which are on display in the temple. In 1930, the temple was closed and remained so for several decades. With its age and mainly wooden structure, the temple was in very bad shape, the major problem being termite infestation. The main beam holding the roof and other structures of the temple was so infested that it was basically a hollow tube, and the top of the temple was in danger of collapsing any time. The management committee, led mainly by Mr. Dang, spending many years, with lots of time spent on intensive fundraising activities by the Australian Heritage Council. A Buddhist monk, Thich Minh Nan, was approached, and he agreed to take up the task of abbot. But there was one big hurdle. He was Buddhist, while the temple is basically Taoist. Mr. Sam said that an innovative solution was found: building a smaller Buddhist hall which houses the Goddess of Mercy, Kuan Yin, next to the temple as the monk's main site of service, provided that he would look after the temple as a sideline. The temple, with its collections, is of national significance, not only because it is directly associated with the origins of Chinese settlement in Queensland, but for its origin, representativeness, rarity, condition, intactness, cultural and spiritual values. There are many Chinese Christians in Queensland, as evidenced by several vibrant churches in the state. One of the largest international churches with a big Chinese component is International City Church, located in Fortitude Valley.